If you landed on this video, it's probably because you have this fear of disappointing others. Maybe you searched on this topic because you recognize yourself in people pleasing, having difficulty setting boundaries, or being authentic in relationships. Maybe you struggle with choosing for yourself, listening to your desires, or sharing your needs, saying no. Maybe you carry a lot of shame for who you truly are, and you never truly dare to express who you truly are because it immediately evokes guilt, unease, discomfort, or anything else that you just don't want to feel. And you recognize yourself in this fear of disappointing others. Well, then you're at the right place, because in this video, I'm going to try to explain to you what the fear of disappointing others truly is, how it was created inside of you, where it is coming from, what's truly beneath it, and also how you can start to work with it or learn to accept that you have it, learn to tolerate it, and learn to overcome it. So what is the fear of disappointing others? Well, in essence, it is nothing more than the fear of creating a disconnection between you and another person, and especially someone you are dependent on, attached to, or you need something from. Then the fear of disappointment is often the strongest, but if you have it like thoroughly, you're like a real people pleaser and it really lives in your body, then you can experience the fear of disappointing others in every area of your life, right? Your job, your relationships, your friendships, doing groceries, in traffic, just going through life in general. And as I said, it truly is like a fear on disconnection. So it's not as much a mindset thing that you can positive think your way out of, but it's more like that this fear of disappointing others, this fear on disconnection, it lives in your nervous system. And as human beings, we create this fear when we are little, and our nervous system doesn't learn that it is safe to be a little bit disconnected between you and your primary attachment figures. So it is a deeper trauma on disconnection in your nervous system that never learned that it was safe to be a separated, authentic individual having its own opinions, needs, boundaries, desires, etc. And how do you learn that disconnection or disappointing others is unsafe? Well, this is often the case when you have very emotionally immature parents who are very explosive or unpredictable, or parents who carry a deep shame wound, a deep wound of unworthiness, who carry a lot of hurt that they are not aware of and that they mask with anger, shaming you, blaming you, punishing you, calling you names, rejecting you, ignoring you every time their hurt wound, their shame wound, their wound of unworthiness is triggered. And one form of triggering that wound in people is disappointing them. And how can you disappoint them? Well, in any kind of way that triggers their wounds. So if it is unsafe for your parents for you to be a separate individual, an authentic individual, having your own opinions, boundaries, desires, wishes, views on life, doing your own thing, and they experience that as a threat to their own wounds, their own fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, their own unworthiness, and they're not emotionally mature enough to regulate themselves, to know it is them and not you, then they will project that out onto you. And so their hurt, their disappointment, their anger triggers a disconnection between you and them. And as I said, when they're not emotionally literate and mature enough to understand what happens, they will project that onto you. They will punish you for that, consciously or subconsciously, covertly or overtly. And you will feel that. You will feel that they will detach from you when they are hurt. You will feel that they will get angry or punish you when they are hurt. You will feel that as a child because you are so attuned to their nervous system and their state of being, because they are your primary source of survival. And because they are your primary source of survival, you do everything to stay attached to them. And if they don't do the emotionally mature adult work of raising you, helping you, attune to you, mirror you, regulating themselves so you can learn to regulate with them, you have to figure it out on your own. So when their wound, their hurt is triggered by something you do, even if your intention was never a bad one. But still they get hurt. They feel it as a threat, and they project it onto you, and they create a disconnection. That is when your survival response is triggered, because it is truly a matter of life and death. So you learn that it is unsafe to trigger that wound, to disappoint them inside of them. And in that moment, you learn, you create protection mechanisms, survival mechanisms, relationship mechanisms to stay connected with them. And this can be pleasing, abandoning yourself, suppressing your needs, your wishes, your desires, your opinions, your anger, suppressing your emotions, suppressing who you truly are, suppressing your joy, your life force energy, because that's a very important one in our society. We're so intelligent, right? So we just create what is necessary to stay connected, especially when disconnection was unsafe because your parents themselves couldn't handle disconnection or couldn't handle their own wounds and their triggers because they didn't do the work yet, or they are trying while they are raising you. And you can think for yourself, in what way did I learn that disconnection was unsafe? How did we handle disconnection in our family? And it could be bigger, right? You could also be bullied by peers in school. You can think of your childhood and what created my fear of disconnection. And if you understand that, you can ask yourself, what did I create to make sure disconnection doesn't happen in relationships? This could be pleasing, overgiving, having no boundaries, never sharing your preferences, never following your joy, your desires, your wishes, because there's a lot of shame on that. And I mean, in general, we are a social species. We are wired for connection, especially when we are little and a teenager. These are very formative years, and our society teaches us a lot to suppress who we truly are out of shame. I mean, I can talk about that for hours, but our society definitely, with strict gender norms, roles, expectations, there's a lot more to it than only the family system, right? But on the deepest nervous system level, the deepest start, it often starts in the attachment with our primary caregivers that we are dependent on. Because if they don't give us this safety, this groundedness, then we don't carry that into the world, into school and growing up and going to college and in our jobs. Because when it is safer at home, we have a bit better base to face what happens outside in the world, right? A bigger resilience. So, and if you understand what kind of mechanisms you created to stay safe and to stay connected, then you become aware of that. And with that awareness, then you can start to play in your life, experiment with little moments of creating disconnection and disappointing others. And then you can start to notice what happens in your body. And then the real work begins. Because then it is learning to tolerate what happens in your body and sitting with yourself as if you are the grown-up adult that you needed when you were little. And that requires emotional awareness, regulation, daring to feel what you never wanted to feel again, what you stuffed away so carefully, what you suppressed. I often do this in my sessions with my clients. And because it is so universal, because the most personal is the most universal, right? Well, maybe you don't know, but it is very universal what you are experiencing. And because it is so universal, I've also created a 40-minute audio. It's called Stay, with the fear of disappointing others, that helps you to go through all the steps on a nervous system level in the body that I go through with my clients, the same arc that I use in sessions, that helps you to understand, like, what was the first moment that I created this fear of disappointing others? What were the mechanisms I created? What are the deepest emotions that I stuffed away? And can I learn to sit with it? Can I be okay with disconnection? Because that's the biggest thing that we need to learn, to stay with the uncomfortable feelings, the fear, the anxiety, the panic of disconnection. We can train ourselves literally to do that. We can train our body, our nervous system. That's the most important thing. Because if you can learn to sit with it, you can create new experiences where you can experience that you disappointing others That is just being an authentic individual with your own boundaries, wishes, fears, desires, other opinions. Then you slowly return to who you truly are. You step into your power. You are able to say no when you truly feel like it and create true change in your life if you wish, or even change on a bigger scale, right? If we want to. Because we can say no to systems that no longer serve us or that never served us. Okay, so the fear of disappointing others is actually a deeper trauma on the nervous system level, on disconnection, and the only way to get rid of it, to overcome it, to heal it, is to learn to tolerate disconnection on a nervous system level. I've created an exercise. You could find it in my shop. I put the link below. If you have any questions, just drop them below. Thank you for being here and have a nice day.